Hey guys, welcome back. Hey Trevor, how are you?
Doing good, bud. How are you doing today?
Doing better than most, better than I should be. Um, Wanted to talk today. Man, we got a lot going on, don't we? A lot of changes on our end, good in a good way. Um, but something came up this week that was on my mind that I hadn't been able to stop thinking about. We had a client that they had a situation happen on a job site. There was,
Mhm.
potential legal ramifications involved with that. And they had not only questions, but looking for legal advice, looking for some of those things. And who was the first person to get that call? Where did we come in on that? And I guess I'm kind of posing it to you, but we were reached out to, uh,
Mhm.
asking, "Hey, what should I do? Who should I contact? Do you have somebody, in this lane that we can reach out to?" And sure enough, of course, we did. You did. You made a phone call and kind of put those people together. It ended up being a better relationship or better match than I think you even anticipated from the beginning. But it got me
Mhm.
thinking, saying, "Man, this has nothing to do with us, right?" Most CPAs, accountants, they're getting called or talking to their people once a year, and they're getting thought about once a year, right? With that,
Mhm. Mhm.
the way I guess I'm patting us on the back more than anything. We've positioned ourselves to be like an advisor, right? And there's a
Yeah.
lot more components to that than just advising on tax, and
Yeah.
so much so that we get contacted for situations like this. And I just think it's pretty telling, and building that relationship, having that relationship with the client is where a lot of that is, and where that client becomes sticky, because it's not only tax that we're doing, it's not only the advisory, and it is the advisory, it's not only the tax returns that we're doing, it's a whole lot more. So does that feel good to you, or is that just kind of common, you expect that?
Uh, I guess it's more common than I realize to us. The fact that it was unique to you. I mean, you're seeing it more recently, right? I don't think it's crazy to think that other accountants have references to attorneys or something like that, just like attorneys would have references to accountants or something like that. That doesn't seem crazy. I think the point you're making is we were one of the first phone calls, and that's probably a little abnormal. Maybe, like, hey, something happened. I'm worried about litigation. I'm going to call my CPA. That's probably not the first thing that enters most people's minds. Now, he was also looking for an attorney, therefore, he was looking for a referral network. But to your point, is this client knows that we're more than just tax prep. We are more than just like, the way we've integrated our services, all the things that we offer. We've also positioned it early on in the process of meeting and onboarding and the conversations that, hey, we're more than just this. If you need anything, we want to be an early call. We want to help be a quarterback if we need to. We've got a really good network I mean, I like trying to be. I think inherently, we're both connectors. You and I are both connectors, and so we want to know. Hey, how can I help this? Like whenever we meet people, like how can I help you? How can I send people to you or benefit you or whatever like that? So that I think comes naturally to us. But then like making sure a client knows it. And so, yeah, in this instance, we were pretty early on the call, and sure enough, I know a guy, we knew it well, and they're actually active in their space. They're very much speak their language, and this is right up their alley. And so, bang, it was a great connection. It actually went better than I would have even expected. They're now, of counsel essentially for the client, and they're rocking and rolling, and we felt good about it. And it's a closer for like, I guess, network partner to us. So yeah, no, but I think it's all about how you position it, right? Like early on, I think people get the idea that we want to be advisors. Like, and I think we talk about that a lot, is separate yourself from being a vendor. Like, don't just be a vendor, right?
Even in our engagement, I was going to say, I mean, we set them up to invite them to reach out to us in situations that deal with their finances or deal with the business or changes that are happening, right? We don't,
Mhm.
we intentionally have a set price for our engagement, and
Mm-hmm.
they pay on that throughout the year typically,
Mm-hmm.
but we're
Mm-hmm.
not charging for the call. We're not charging for the email. We're not hitting the
Yeah.
stopwatch when we're working on some of their stuff in those type of engagements. And we make that very clear to them that we welcome their communication, and we want to be that sounding board
Mm-hmm.
for them in a lot of those situations.
That's a good point. That's a big differentiator too, I guess, with the fixed fee or the value pricing or just the engagement as a whole pricing that we kind of take on avoids the I think part of it is they don't have to save up questions to wait for like to make it meaningful enough to give us a call. They can call us on a random thing. They could call us on a hair, a wild hair idea that they have. I think that's where they know, like, we want you to call us. I would rather you call us on something that could ultimately avoid a bigger problem later. Anything that's going to impact your business from a financial standpoint or any of those kinds of things, like, we want to make sure we're involved. So yeah, we might not be doing CFO advisory. Like, this kind of goes into that idea of, like, this is something you would talk to your CFO with or your COO with or something along those lines. We're not doing that level of service per se, but like he's tapping on our shoulder as if we are. And so I think that's really good. I think it's a testament to the engagement structure, to the relationship we're building with our clients to see us as other things, because we have a lot of things integrated already. Like, they know they know we're more than an accountant or a tax person. You have an insurance background, you have a financial planning background. Like, we have financial planning myself too. And we have integrated wealth management. We have and then the referral structure, we have real estate, and, we have we can do a lot of things. Some of those just came from like tertiary activities that we can benefit from. Some of them are things that we're actively doing ourselves. And then other aspects of it are just like building out a more full, well-rounded service type firm. Like, the idea is really, like, I like the idea of this fractional family office level of service, even though we're not really doing it in that, like, we're not marketing it in that way. But like, you've got almost every conceptual financial event that could happen in your life could essentially be handled by the same integrated team outside of legal. And really, that's just because of licensing regulations and stuff like that. I mean, if we could have an attorney on staff, it probably would, right?
Mhm, mhm.
There's a little more rules around that, especially in the state of Texas. So, yeah, I mean, it was cool. I mean, I hated that it happened to a degree, but it was cool that we were an early call. I guess it kind of started feeling, it's become more common, but I kind of forget that it's not common.
Mm,
It's
right.
not, I guess it's common for us, but I feel like I don't realize that it's not a norm. At least I think so. So happy for anybody to argue us, in any of the comments here or something along those lines. But, I do think you're correct. Like, it was unique.
So the integration is something you touched on there that we have with wealth management, as well as a few other components or shoulders that we can tap on. That's one that we've kind of leaned into a little bit more,
Hmm. Hmm.
just because of both client needs and our backgrounds and
Hmm.
interest in the financial component. And you have a term that you use quite a bit with clients, and a lot of planning aspects that we do have a financial component, and vice
Yeah.
versa, right? So, especially a lot of the advanced strategies, they kind of go hand in hand. A lot of the advanced
Hmm.
tax planning strategies, I should clarify, uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
have a large financial component to them. And
Yeah.
not only having somebody who knows what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, and the level of service and those type of things that we expect, kind of the deliverable there.
Hmm.
It's not having to kind of pass it off to somebody and hope they do a good job with it. We're kind of seeing it through this whole process. So will you kind of speak to how you've grown that kind of integration and that side of it and the relationship there?
That's exactly what I was about to say. Is that all stemmed from the desire not to have to send somebody down the road, metaphorically, right? Like, it's great having referral partners, network partners to know that you do a good service. And I think the more you get to interact with other professionals, like, you get to find the good ones and the not so good ones, and it's nice to be able to keep getting people to good people. But this all stemmed from, I don't want to have to send somebody down the road if I don't have to. If I don't have to, that's really what it comes down to is like, if I want to be able to cause we're already doing financial planning. Every CPA in America gets asked a financial planning question. And the official advice is typically, well, this isn't official financial advice because I'm not a licensed financial professional. But if it were me, I would, we're giving the advice half the time, even though it's kind of like with a disclaimer in front of it. I got tired of saying that because clients want, like, we're already their trusted advisor. Heck, they talk to us more than they talk to most other people. So that's what it all stemmed from that. Getting it back on topic though is just like, how do we integrate this in with our firm? And so we have where we were able to partner with a great platform with Cetera under a van tax. And we have a CFP, we have a wealth management division essentially. Like, so just like firms would have a bookkeeping department or a payroll department, we have a financial planning department. And that's something you can sit on with me. I sit on it, or Dustin can sit on it with us. So, that's such a cool aspect because we're looking at it from a tax lens. And to your point, so many, like, there's a certain point where, like, in order to keep doing tax planning, to come up with strategies that make sense, we kind of classify them as slightly more advanced just because they're not the first thing you're going to do out of the gate.
Right.
Is yeah. Like, let's do a 401k, cash balance pension, profit sharing. Let's do a matrix between a SEP, a simple, and a 401k to determine what's the best aspect. Oh, and then by the way, then we got to go open it up. Guess what? We don't have to go anywhere else to do it. We can just hand it off here internally and knock it out. That's such a great value for the client, I think. And as long as we're doing good work, right? Which I feel we do. So I think that's what it came down to. It all started just from a desire of, I didn't want to have to trust a relationship to go well because we're so conscious of how we're perceived by our clients in terms of like how they see us as a quality service. And the last thing I want to hear is, oh, you sent me to so and so, and gosh, they were awful. Or, I just didn't want that. And so, not that that happened per se, but that was always the risk. That's always in the back of your mind. So yeah, so we built out the wealth management division, which is kind of counterintuitive to what an accounting firm typically would keep, branching out into. But it's been awesome because so many financial planning strategies have financial planning solutions. And also, to a certain degree, a lot of financial planners don't have the exposure in those areas, or that's not something they do a lot of. And so we have advanced departments, or we have advanced planning teams that can sit there, and that's where they live and breathe. So it's cool. We don't have to be a jack of all trades, and we can still have expert kind of people within the same team. So yeah, we've been happy to integrate those pieces because they very much go hand in hand. And if you're doing tax planning, financial planning truly just comes naturally because you're already doing it. All you're doing is allowing yourself to ultimately handle it fully without a handoff to a third party independent. Now, if you have a great referral partner already to do it with, fantastic. And I'll say this, we absolutely will work with the advisors that clients already have. Never have I ever encroached upon like that relationship. Hey, you already have a financial planner? Perfect. Let's do this with them and let them go with it. It's all good. And but in a lot of cases, a lot of folks don't. Even 7-figure, 8-figure entrepreneurs. Well, I don't really have anybody. Or I have a guy, but I'm not crazy about them. Or I have this person, and
The
I
bank
don't hear
assigned
from
them to me last year. I have never
who
talked to them.
knows? Yeah, because and that's just because they've been so focused on running a business and building up a business, and now it's at the point where they have to kind of take a step back and realize, oh, I got to do this, and so they haven't had a chance to. So
Right.
yeah, it's been awesome. I love that aspect of some of the planning we get to do, and I like that it helps the client in a way that is unique. There's a lot of financial planners that are trying to gobble up tax practices or tax shops, or so they can say they can do tax planning. And I feel like the coming from tax to financial planning is it's better and more holistic and actually accurate than,
What did
you
you
know,
really want to say there? Because you changed the words you were gonna use, but
financial advisors buying small tax shops and now offering tax planning is not good.
it's not tax
And
planning. Yeah,
not in my experience.
right.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
No, I
It's
want to
because
I, I want to drill in on one part that you said, just about how good it is for the client, because what I see too, from my perspective, and kind of focusing a little bit more on just the client experience, is we sit in on those meetings with
oh
Dustin,
yeah,
with the CFP. We're in there. He knows what we're
yeah,
doing and why we're doing it. And so we're using the same vernacular, the same words are
hmm
being used. And if there is any confusion, we can talk to both the financial side of it and the tax side of it, and really the client gets an education through it, but they fully understand and grasp what it is we're doing, and in a way that they don't worry about it, right?
yeah,
They love that. I guess it really feels good for the client. They leave those meetings feeling like we all have a very good handle on it, and they don't
yeah,
have there's not a place for it to get kind of skipped up on, because we're transitioning between the different offices or whatever. We
hmm
have different people we're working with on the financial side.
yeah. It's the handoff is great. I mean, we're still very much involved, but I think the biggest value to the client that they don't see, but we communicate, and eventually, they kind of see it. They don't see it at first, but like the conversations we're able to have essentially behind their back, right? Like we're working in the background, marrying, tax and wealth together so that they cohesively exist and there's not a trip up on any situation. Cause, if I'll give a random example of there was a client that I tried, we wanted to do a 401k specifically so that we could do a profit share component. And that way, because we were also between the reasonable compensation, they were in the, I won't say low, but like they were in the one, like low to mid 100s, right? Like $120,000 a year. So like, and then the financial advisor throws them into a SEP IRA, and that's fine and good, but that's capped and tied to their compensation, their W-2 income. And it wasn't to the point where they can max it out because that's what their goal was. That's why we were leaning on a profit sharing component to try to maximize and do some of those things. They wanted to get a more aggressive strategy without being kind of limited to a 25% cap of their wages. And like his idea was, oh, you want to save this? But like, yeah, it's what they want to save today. But we were actually setting up the type of plan or platform for what they were going to want to do next year and the year after, because they were anticipating large swarms of income that were going to come in the next 18 months or 6 months or whatever it was. I think it was like the next 6 months. So they were wanting to get ahead of it. And he was looking at it from a right here, right now perspective. So the tax planning was completely circumvented because of that. So that's a random example, but like that's where this conversation behind the scenes handles everything so that it doesn't happen. And and then they're meeting now with our wealth management team on a quarterly basis, on a regular basis. There's a cadence to what they do there. So the process mirrors the tax planning in a sense that now they're essentially getting somebody talking to them at least on schedule practically every month.
Mhm.
So we're talking here. And then before they're meeting with them, like I'm talking to Dustin about that client from our standpoint too. So like it's completely, we know what's happening all the time, essentially on both sides of kind of the planning perspective. So,
Right.
um, yeah, no, the process was great. The integration is the best word for it, and seems cliche, but having it actually integrated where they're getting both sides with the same essential team is it's cool. It's unique.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's done enough. And it should be.
So I got a kind of final question for you here as we kind of maybe wrap this up. But if folks are looking to try to establish a relationship like this, how do you do it right? How do you not make the mistake of getting somebody who's in it to one sell an insurance product where, that's not
Mm,
what's needed, but that's where the commission lies? Or how do
mm.
you find somebody who really understands more of the planning component of it from a tax lens as well? Well, where do you think the best place to go for someone? Is that a trial and error type of thing? Or is there a list of questions that, maybe you don't know them off the top of your head, but we could put together that helps establish that relationship with someone who is knowledgeable in that arena?
It's a great question. And you're talking advisor to advisor, right? CPA to
Right. Because
advisor. Yeah.
there'd be plenty of financial advisors who want to partner
Oh
with
yeah, we get
with a
calls all the
CPA.
time.
Right.
Yeah,
But how do you
yeah.
find somebody that, you know,
Every
is do
advisor that yeah, every advisor within a striking distance wants to come have coffee so that they can refer clients to us. In reality, they're also wanting us to reciprocate. I get it. And that's fine. Like I'm not against that at all. Um, it is tough. And we've been lucky. But I mean, there was a fairly long courtship process to, ultimately before we fully integrated this thing. And we gave
yeah.
it a couple dry runs too. Don't get me wrong. Just to kind of test the waters. And it's been a process that is sort of, it's taken some different versions of perfection over the last 18 months for sure. But I would say talking with advisors to truly understand where your lane is, what you're doing for that client, what you want to do for that client, and how you want to make sure that financial planner, talking about it from our perspective, is on the same page, right? And fiduciary advisors obviously make that better, versus commission based, or not commission based, but like looking at certain credentials to act as a fiduciary. How
What
they're
I
compensated makes a big
Yeah.
difference to a certain point. Compensation, commissions. That's not an ugly word to me. Flat fee, that's fine. Like to me, people should be compensated for their worth and for their value. How they deem that to be calculated doesn't like you're not better than just because you're a flat fee advisor than someone who takes a percentage. That doesn't bother me at all. But I think to your point, how do you figure out that relationship piece? You gotta want to talk. You gotta have an open line of communication to understand what you're trying to do for the people. And there has to be, it usually dies on the vine because of ego,
Mm.
that's just a fact. Like, so both sides need to not have too big of an ego in it. And that's hard because you're in professions that are typically, sophisticated people and smart people, and you are trusted advisors, and you are really important to these clients that you're sharing, so it's easy to get an ego in it. So you got to find someone who truly wants to like partner together and also make sure that you're both kind of making sure the client wins. And I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes there isn't the aspect of doing what's best for the client. And I'll say that on both sides, frankly. I'll say that on both sides, but a lot
So
of times that's not the problem. That's not the case.
so what I thought you were going to say was, finding
Then
someone
just tell
who
me what I'm going to say, dude. Just tell
well
me what I'm going to
well
say.
I gotta let you get your idea out first, but I feel
It's
like
just you know it better. Just run this. You got it.
the difference
Just
between
like
more of a captive advisor who has a
yeah,
very small
mm,
amount of financial products available to him, and someone who's on the independent side. I feel like that's super
yeah.
important
That's a
with our
point.
relationship through Dustin, and what's allowed us to do a lot of the more advanced strategies, tax planning
Yeah,
strategies, and then his just availability of other products that he has is much broader than someone down the street with certain sign up and those type of things. So
yeah.
I
Yeah. That should have been a natural point to make. Yeah, the independence factor certainly helps in all of that. The independence to go out and find best of breed and shop the best or find the best, and not being particularly stuck with any particular vertical or captive, right? Just you can truly go out and find what's best, and that makes a huge difference because now you just opened up your toolkit. So yeah, that's a big point between if you're a CPA looking for a financial advisor to service clients with, to share, to collaborate on, to partner on. And I love the idea that a lot of people are out. I mean, there are a lot of financial planners that are looking to do that a little more openly and a little more cohesively, because like clients are starving for tax planning. And so in some cases, when a client has a good advisor and a poor tax person, like they're asking the advisor tax questions and they can't touch it. And then in our situation, like people who are asking us questions that don't have good advisors are starving for financial planning. So like there's people thirsty on both sides. And so you just have to realize like, yeah, like the independence, the ego, the willingness to pick up the phone and actually, I got ghosted by an advisor. I can't tell you how many times.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, I mean, I like to think that it was because I don't even know. I'm not even, I'll speculate all day long, but um, it doesn't help me, doesn't help them, and it hurts the client. So
Right.
like, I don't lose sleep over it. The client lost something over it, to a point, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, to your point, independence is huge. I don't care how they're compensated. I don't care how they're paid. Don't care how they deem their worth to how they charge a client at all. And anybody who tries to make that a differentiator between a good advisor and a bad advisor, there's a lot of commercials that just say we're fiduciary or we're flat fees. Like those are buzzwords. Like who cares how somebody gets paid if they're good,
Right.
right? And if
Right.
you see value in it and they can deliver value on it, but the idea that they can actually be independent, that to me is more important than their fee structure.
Right. 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 Well, good deal. I think we've kind of hammered it home enough that being an advisor for your clients more so than just their tax preparer is where we hang our hat and where we
Mm-hmm.
think that the strong relationships come from, where you're able to charge what your value is for the engagement. If you're doing a $300 tax return and talking to people about these things, it might need to be reevaluated. But we're building these relationships and these engagements with this in mind, and so
Mm-hmm.
um, we want to be that for those clients,
Yeah,
and we it,
setting yourself aside to be considered an advisor, not just a vendor.
you got to have capacity to do so, though, right?
You got to have capacity to do it 100%, but
Yeah,
that's just, you just have to, you can't have a vendor mindset.
yeah,
You just can't if you have a vendor mindset, then it's fine. It's just that these things can't happen if that's how the client perceives you. So,
right, right,
but
right.
I mean, fun to chat on. I mean, we'll obviously get into more of these types of conversations and stuff like that. We'll get Dustin in here, chat it up on what's going on in that world as well. But overall, that's kind of the key to some of the things. And I mean, it was just an example this week of how you saw that kind of in action, and you brought it up. I didn't think anything twice about it. But if we didn't do that, that phone call never would have happened. So,
Right.
um, but yeah, no, we're just cruising along, man. Just kind of try to do good work for good people. That's all we want to do.
I love it. All right, man. Well, good talking with you.
Thanks for
Until
having
next
me.
time. See ya.
Bye.